Okay. Yes. So once again, it is Friday. That time of week has happened already. We've come super quickly to this. It seems like only yesterday, I don't know about you, that we had our last session, which was amazing. I had so much feedback on the hidden jobs market. Who knew that was such a popular one? In fact, one of the biggest attended that we've done for a long time in it. So it's really good that that's helped out. Nena, great to see you first. As I would expect you to be first as well. I think Foxy's been slacking a little bit. I don't know whether he's slowing down. There you go. Well, exactly. And so you should be cancelling your meetings for the Get Hired Live. I think it's the best use of anyone's time in order to do it. Hello to everybody. It's great to see you. I hope that you've had a fantastic week as ever. Please make sure you introduce yourself. Say hello, David. Hi, great to see you. Also, let you know where you are. If you're new here to this session, then please introduce yourself. There's a lot of people who've come here quite a lot, have been here for quite some time, but keep introducing yourself. Let you know where you're from. We get people from all over the world coming to join us, which is fantastic to see as well. And please do connect with each other as well. So if you haven't already connected, make sure you do as well. And yeah, well, look, in my defense, Nena, I don't think that I'm technically late. I think it's because there is a slight delay that they have, that LinkedIn do. I guess they're putting the delay in case I suddenly go crazy and start swearing or something. I don't know, but they put the delay on anyway in order to do that. But look, today we're going to be going through something that we talk a little bit a lot, but it's the subject of the fact of why you're being ignored from your job search. Why is it that you are applying for jobs and you're just not hearing anything back? And I want to deep dive into that today to talk a little bit about what's going on in the market, what's changed, what's happening in it, to really understand what that is. So maybe put in the comments today, how many applications have you made this week? How many have you had responses back? How many where you've applied and you're waiting for? What's the longest that you've been waiting for a job application? I know everybody has experience of this, and it's always good to see. Megan, great to see you as well. I hope London is keeping you well. I think we've returned. What was it? A full spring, or whatever they like to call them. Full spring. That was the one. A full spring we had last week. It was beautiful, sunny sunshine last Saturday. 2 days ago, we had a blizzard here. So it just shows you that the weather is all over the place at the moment. But a little bit like job searching, it's like it feels like the weather, that it's just gone completely crazy, that the market has sort of changed so much. And it's got to that stage now where traditional applying for jobs is so stressful, is so disheartening. And the main reason is because people are just not hearing anything back. You feel like you're just being completely ignored by it. And so it's really, really frustrating for job seekers to do that. So why do you think that people are just ignoring you when you're applying for a job? Now, the main reason for this is the whole way that the job market works is changing. It's changing dramatically. As we know, 10, 15 years ago, you needed a new job, you would go and go onto a few job boards. A few years before that, you'd actually go onto newspapers and go and find them and apply to them that way. But you go onto job boards, you send in your CV, and you probably only have to do that 20, 30 times maximum. And you'd be guaranteed interviews, you'd be guaranteed an offer. You knew that was the process it worked. The problem that we now have, it's not even 10x that. You literally could be doing thousands of applications before you get to an interview, let alone a job offer. And that's the problem that so many people are having right now. But why is it that even when you are applying, that it's seemingly that you're getting ignored, that you're not hearing anything back at all from anyone? And that's the changes that we've had, that sort of perfect storm that we've had in job applications. And it's meaning that job applications, it's now easier than ever to apply for a job. You can literally apply for hundreds of jobs at the press of one button. There are AI systems out there right now that are encouraging people to upload their CV, and they will literally fire it off to hundreds of jobs for you on your behalf. You don't have to do anything. You can sit there with your cup of coffee knowing full well I've done what I needed to do, I've applied for lots of jobs. And of course, what's ending up happening is that recruiters are now completely overwhelmed with job applications. Thousands of applications. So many organizations are struggling with this right now, where there are so many there. That then on the flip side, there are now AI systems out there that are being sold and adopted by companies in order to deal with the thousands of applications that are being made per role by AI, and it's now being filtered by AI. So it's AI talking to AI. It literally is that bit that we've all had nightmares about of what's going to be happening. And as a consequence of that, it then means that CVs have become almost unintelligible for humans to read, because not only are we applying for our jobs that way, but we're using AI in order to upgrade our CVs, to write our CVs, to write our cover letters if we're still using them, and sending them in. So they're becoming less and less individual and more the same. So for recruiters, when they're looking through and screening through applications, it's really difficult to try and see the difference and see beyond it, apart from the fact that there's just so many. So what's ending up happening is they're just overwhelmed by applications. They occasionally will find one or two people that they want to bring forward to interview and then just ignore everybody else. And that's the situation that so many job seekers are now stuck in. They don't know what else to do, and it's not particularly fair, and it's not right. But that's the reality of where we're going. And I suspect that this market is going to continue to fluctuate over the coming months, and it's going to continue to be quite challenging, I think, for an awful lot of people. So, what can you actually do in order to change that? Well, there's a number of things that we've talked about. Now, first and foremost, before you even start with your application strategy, what is really important is to make sure that you adapt and change in terms of how you approach the market. How do you get visibility? How do you get people so that you're in a situation where you cannot be ignored? And that's the difference. Now, to me, if you are playing a game whereby it is just about volume, sending in CVs as much as you can do into the market, and you're getting ignored, and no matter what you do, that's still creating that. It seems completely the wrong strategy to think, well, I know what I need to do. I'm just going to do the same thing but more, and then hopefully something will change. And of course, it isn't. It's just making the situation even worse. So that's where we then get into the subject of what this whole series is about, which is about branding yourself, creating visibility, getting online and getting seen. And that then goes back to, okay, we need to do something on LinkedIn. There is a platform out there that has 1.2 billion people on it and has the ability to really make a massive difference out there into the market. So that's where we have to go through with that. Now, I know we've talked about this a lot, but look, I'm going to really reiterate how you approach that. So if you're going from a standing start, it's really important that you follow these following steps. Now, the reason for that, I was actually talking to a couple of candidates this week, and similar to, I think, the same thing that a lot of people have said here, is that it is super difficult to get seen. I'm not getting seen, and I've tried branding myself on LinkedIn. I'm just getting nowhere. I'm creating content. I'm doing some comments, and this is what it, and nothing's happening. I'm still not doing that. I'm sort of following what you've said, and it's not happening for me. So what I did was I said, look, let's work together. Let's have a look and see. So let's audit what your profile is. Let's have a look at your content, and let's look at that. And I said, it's nothing's ever personal. We're just going to critique it and see if that works. And what I noticed is that the common theme of it is that first with your profile is that quite often when people audit it, they still will change it and think I'm optimizing my profile, but ending up either just mirroring their CV. So you end up with quite a bland document that just documents literally, I was at this place from this time to this time. This was my job title, with very little information on there. And it doesn't do anything for you. So what you're trying to do with your content creation is you're trying to get eyes onto your profile. That is your shop window. That is your marketing document. That's what's going to really help sell yourself out there in the market. That's what means that you can't get ignored because people can see the value that you bring. Now, what that means is that you have to optimize it properly. So it does mean a little bit of work going into it. It does mean taking time to redo this. So everyone, if you've not done this, the first thing you need to do is to go to your profile and then change it. Really look at it from the eyes of, am I selling myself here? If somebody comes here to look at it, can they see what problems I can solve? Can they see the value that I bring to any organization? Can they see that really quickly and easily? And the little areas that you should be doing with that is right along your headline, right next to your name. Make sure you're putting in your headline, not that I am looking for a job, because hey, everybody knows that's probably what you're going to be doing. You don't need to be putting that in your tagline. What you need to be putting there is the skills that you have, the value that you bring, the problems that you solve. That's what you need to be putting up there first and foremost. Foxy, hi. I've been reviewing CVs for work this week, and it's shocking how bad they are these days. Even the good candidates had terrible and hard to read CVs. Welcome to my world. In recruiting, it happens a lot. Unfortunately, CV writing is bad. And the weird thing is that, and I think it's really important to note while we're on that subject, and we'll get back to the LinkedIn profile in a minute, but it's important to note that CVs, it's probably the easiest time that you can have to be able to develop it. We see a lot of people online on LinkedIn who give advice on it, that give out these templates. Some of them are just a tenner. Some of them saying they're free. Some of them are like £700 or more for your special CV template that will get you through. The reality is, if you use any AI tool and ask it to do that, and you prompt it in the right way, you can create a CV that will do the job really, really well. And the templates that you can use, hell, Microsoft has given them out for free as part of their templates forever. It's not. So please do not spend money on CV templates. That's the first thing you should do. But absolutely right. I think, the temptation is, whether you're creating your LinkedIn profile or your CV itself, is always, I need to put everything in there. And if you're just looking in terms of what to put on your CV there is for one purpose only. It's to get you an interview. That is it. It won't get you the job. It gets you the interview. And so you need to make sure that when you're creating your CV, you are creating it for that purpose. And in the same way, what you're trying to do is demonstrate value. There's a lot of debate out there whether you should match the CV to the job description, whether you should customize it. There are some recruiters online saying, no, you just use the same one, the same template for it, and that's it. And there's some will say you need to customize it for every single one. Look, bear in mind, and my advice is this, it is there to get you an interview. And if you have the same looking CV for every single role, you're not doing the job well enough, because what you're ending up doing is just trying to define the same thing for everything. Every job's slightly different. Every job has a slightly different pain point. They're all looking for a slightly different skill set. And what you need to do, because every single one of us will have a lot of different skills, that some that you think, oh, I'm really good at that and I really like doing that, and other skills you'll have which you could be really, really good at, but you think, oh, I probably don't use it that much, so I don't really need to say much about that. But the role that you're applying for could well have that area which is really, really important. You're just underselling yourself. So it's really important that if you are applying, when you do apply, and you will need to strategically apply, that you make sure that you are adapting your CV specifically for that role and what they're looking for. So you highlight the skill sets that you have that are right for that role. You're not making them up. You're just highlighting what you've got. We're all multi-dimensional. So it's really important, to Foxy's point, that you maximize what you can do on that CV as well. From a LinkedIn profile point of view, similarly, where you have your jobs area, and what I found with my candidate clients this week, was what they were doing was putting in their LinkedIn profile, this was my job title, this was the company, and nothing else about it. There was literally nothing there. So I could see what they were doing, but I had no clue what their day-to-day was, what value they had, what challenges they overcame, what projects they won, what projects they completed. I couldn't see anything there at all. And it's gone are the days of when we all started on LinkedIn. Some of us have started way back. I know that I was there, what, 15 odd years ago. Nearly, crikey, I think it's going to be nearly 20 years ago that I think I might have created my first LinkedIn profile. It's a scary thought. But life has moved on. It's very different. The old advice used to be that your LinkedIn profile, oh, that's like your online CV. It is the last thing it should be. So don't be tempted that I'm going to put it as my online CV. Your LinkedIn profile is there as your shop window. That gives you your CV, your cover letter, your branding. It's your everything. That is your landing page that will really start to push through in terms of helping people go from a profile view to engaging with you. And that's also the thing that I get from a lot of people, where they will say, I've had loads of profile views, but no one's then doing any follow-up. And that could be for a lot of different reasons. And it might well be that they're looking at your profile and they're just not seeing anything that resonates with them. And that's something that you've got to really adapt to. Nena, I'm naughty at not tailoring my CV. I'm hoping that my sparkling personality is the initial hook. I think so, absolutely. But look, the good thing with you, Nena, is that, and I would encourage everybody, try this out. If you go onto Nena's profile on LinkedIn, go and check her out, go and have a look, and tell me if you can't work out very quickly more about Nena. What is Nena about? What is she like? What's her personality? What value does she have? You can see that quite quickly on there. And then you've done a great job in changing and adapting your LinkedIn profile, and your content really gives you a massive insight into you as a person and what you bring to any future employer as well. So look, I think that's a really good example of what you can do that can make some real difference in terms of really holding up in terms of what you do. So look, first and foremost, what you have to do then is adapt and change your LinkedIn profile. And we'll be putting some more PDFs and some more handouts that we're going to be doing, and we're going to be putting it into the Get Hired group. If you're not actually a member of the Get Hired group, please make sure you do. James will add the link into the comments here as well to make sure that we can get in there. We've got a number of different playbooks that we're writing and loading up for everybody there, which are completely free. So they are free advice booklets for everybody. And we're starting it both from the hidden job market, but we're also going to be looking about how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, how to get seen, how to create content. So we're going to start producing more and more for everybody to really try and help, because the whole way that recruiting is happening is changing, and it's changing so much that it's taking everybody by surprise. And not all of us are out there in the market looking for a new job, but when we are looking for a new job, we probably haven't been looking for a few years, and so we're getting caught out, and a lot of people are getting caught out by it. But once you have optimized your LinkedIn profile, then it's about what I would say is the good stuff, the exciting stuff, which is creating content, which I know absolutely can be the scary stuff. That's the bit that I think a lot of people suddenly get super nervous about. I think we can all probably tweak our LinkedIn profile and not really care too much, and change things and change the wording. And by the way, when you are changing the wording of your about section, of what each of your different jobs that you've had, use AI, your preferred AI partner, to help you out. So prompt it in the right way. Ask it for whatever particular discipline you read, what you're trying to achieve, and get them to change that for you and give you some adaptation. Just make sure that you don't cut and paste it. Make sure that you change it into your own language. Make sure you unchat GPT it, if for want of a better word. So you make sure that the grammar is done correctly and everything else, and you do it in your words. But absolutely use that as your assistant there to really help you in order to do that. Interestingly, I put up a poll earlier this week because I've been looking at assessing different tools. I've been using ChatGPT for quite some time. I've been of late using Claude, which I must admit I've been super impressed with. I don't know whether anyone else has tried that, but Claude has been providing some incredible different spreadsheets, different presentations. Really, really good. You know, more so than what ChatGPT could do. What I've sort of noticed that each of them have strengths in different areas, and I would strongly advise you to trial different ones to see which one it is. If you're thinking that you're going to get through in the next decade without ever using AI as your partner, then forget about it, because you will. You know, absolutely get on that train. Which one you use is completely up to you, but I would strongly advise trialing different ones. There's lots of them out there. I know each of you, when we've spoken about it before, have tried different ones, but look, see which one is right for you, and get used to using them, because they are so powerful. And absolutely, in terms of what we're doing here to get ahead of the game and really get seen, really good to do that. So look, the next bit is that on that content creation, 100%, the first thing that I would do before I even create a post, before I've done the first ever post, because it can be nerve-wracking to do that, is if once you want to get yourself into the market of creating content and putting yourself out there, is start to map out your market. So get your target audience. Who is it that you want to be speaking to? Start to follow them. Start to follow those companies, follow the people in it, follow the individuals that are either your peers in different competitors to where you've been in the market sector that you're in, and also the leaders, the directors, the managers, the team leads, the founders, the managing director, the CEOs. Make sure you start following them as well. It's a little bit of work to do, but look, absolutely start to do that so that you can really start seeing what's going on in the market, and you'll get a real flavor of what people are talking about. But the easiest entry into content creation is to start commenting. Start commenting on some of that. And that's what gets you so much visibility. And it feels really easy to do it, because you don't feel like it feels like you're not really putting yourself out there. You're just sort of commenting on stuff. But absolutely get used to it, and make sure that when you are commenting, it's not those short, great insight, congratulations, love that. Try and add some value when you're doing that, so that you can get seen and it prompts people to look at your profile. Foxy, honestly, the people who are going to be the ones who lose their jobs in the coming years will be the ones who avoided getting their AI skills sharpened when they had the chance. Do you know what? I completely agree with this. And I know that I know that the trouble is that we hear so much about AI. We hear so much about all these different things, these wonderful stuff, and it's changing the world. And sometimes that natural reaction is, oh, it's not going to affect me, and I'm not going to do it, or I'm not going to do that. But 100%, Fox, you know, whether we like it or not, this is happening, and it's being adopted, and it's happening rapidly. That's the bit that I think is the real changing factor. We've all had technology come aboard with us over the last 20 odd years, that things have happened, but it takes quite some time to have that effect. And it gave everybody enough time to get used to it and adapt to it and do that. AI isn't waiting around for any of us. It is moving so rapidly, so quickly. I think I'm trying to remember who it was. I can't remember which person it was that I saw being interviewed, but they were talking about the rise of AI and how quickly it's working, and they described it as this, that they said that AI and the way that it's adapting and changing and becoming more intelligent was that around about a year and a half ago, it was starting off as a school grade uh, uh, assistant. So at that level that it was working, it's now got beyond. So already in the space of sort of 6 to 12 months, it's gone from school grade to college grade or university grade. And they said that within another 6 months, it will already have leapt beyond that as well. So that's the bit that, as Foxy said, if you've not jumped on it yet, please make sure you do. I'm not going to advocate which one to go to, but absolutely, you know, whether it is Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity, whichever ones you want to do, Grok. I know some of you might not like that, but you try whichever one it is and assess it and work out what it does for you. Because what I've also noticed is with each of these AI tools, each are strong in different fields and different things that you want to do. It's particularly strong in. So I think it's really important to assess it for yourself and see which area it will do for you. So look, absolutely, I think why you've started to do that, and you've got your list of target audience of who you need to engage with, and you're commenting directly on that. That's when you can then start to create your own content as well. And that, I know, is the scary bit. I know that's the scary bit for all of us, to actually put yourself out there and to start to do that. Now, LinkedIn has a number of different things that you can produce in order to produce your content and put it out there. The most obvious are posts, just text posts. So you can literally just write something, post it up, off you go, and you're running, and it's out there forever and a day for someone to see it. You can add photographs to that post. You can do a video post. So you can create videos for yourself, upload that, and off you go to do that. You can create events like we've got here. Now, the events one and the live one, you become eligible after a certain period of time. So you need to check to see whether you're eligible to do that before you want to start doing live events as well. And then there's newsletters. Newsletters are a great way of starting to get information out there for your followers and your connections. It will automatically push out and say, do you want to join this newsletter? And most people tend to do that. And that's a good way for another level. Now, the reason why it's important to not just rely on one form only, even though there's not a problem with just doing one only, but the fact is that all of us consume content in different ways. We have a different way that we like to do it. Some people like to just read posts. That's just what they like. Some people just want to see video. That's all they want to see. Some people like to see longer form, like newsletters. And some might want to come on things like this, which is live events, to see whether it can go wrong, which sometimes it does. As anyone who's been on this will know, that quite often I will have some technical issues, that something goes wrong. Maybe the occasional errant dog might turn up. That's always makes it interesting. But it's for different people. And LinkedIn wants you to do a variety of things, and it will reward you if you're doing a variety of things. Their algorithms will work out how active you are on it. If you're commenting a lot, you're consistently posting, and you're consistently posting a variety of different types of content, as in the form of content, it will like it. They will see and think, right, you're invested in it. Then yeah, we're going to be pushing that along. It's clearly something that's going to be interesting. The next thing to realize is that we're no longer in the age of social media. It is interest media. Even though these are all social media platforms, as they're called, what they used to rely on before was how many followers you had, how many connections you had. That's what gave you views. Now it's about interest. So if you are talking about boats because you sell boats, and you're a salesperson for luxury yachts and things like that, if you are talking endlessly about that and you're creating content about boats, some nice pictures about it, you're talking about the challenges with it, about fuel efficiency, about how long it's going to go and everything else, it will push it to people who are also consuming content about boats and luxury yachts, because clearly that's the interest they want. So it makes sense to be pushing things that people are clearly sort of interested in to that. It's that TikTokification. So if you're on TikTok, you'll know that if you linger on a TikTok that you've just seen, which you've never seen before, and you linger on that for the next day or so, you're going to continually see a whole raft of videos, probably either on the same subject or from the same person for a period of time. And then the algorithm will work out, are you continuing to stay on that? So we think that clearly you quite like it. Or do you stop and think, oh, no, I'm going to get rid of that. And then it thinks, right, your hang time on that is not particularly good. So they're bored with that. They're going to move on to something else. And LinkedIn does a similar sort of thing. Now, why that's great for a job seeker, so hear me out, because it is great for a job seeker, is that if you are somebody who can add value in your job and what you're doing, and you're showing and positioning yourself as adding value in that particular field, and you're pushing it out to, the people of what they're talking about, that they clearly are interested because you're following them, you can see what they're talking about, you're engaging with them, they're going to see you more. And visibility is 100% key to this job market, because without it, you're nowhere. And it means that you're just going to have a really super long job search. And visibility is the bit that sort of disappeared in the past. When you were only 20 odd applications into a role, you were 1 in 20. Your chances of being seen by that one recruiter was pretty good. As it stands now, your chances of being seen by that one recruiter is 1 in 1,000 quite often. It might just be 1 in 200, but that's still a lot. Whereas the difference is that if you're engaging consistently every single day with your target audience, the hiring managers, indeed the recruiters, but the hiring managers, the founders, the people, the leaders of those businesses, you're continually engaging with their content and you're showing them your content, you're going to be seen by thousands of your audience, of the people who are interested in what you've got to say. And that's when you'll start getting engagement. And then that's the final element to trying to combat being ignored, is then once you're getting that visibility, is how do you engage directly with them? How do you network? How do you make sure that you start to prompt those conversations? Because unfortunately, not everybody is going to read your content, go onto your profile, and then directly reach out to you. They just won't. It would be lovely if they did. And occasionally people will. You're going to have to prompt them, and you prompt them by directly messaging them. I saw that you looked at my profile. Is there anything I can help with? Or I saw your content on XYZ. I thought it was amazing. I had a very similar experience in the past. Just thought I'd say hello, that kind of thing. So it's that gentle nudging, that gentle networking. Make sure that when you're messaging and you're directly messaging individuals, it's not, don't go in for the big right hook straight away. You've got to just build up to get to it. So you don't go straight in and say, I'm looking for a job, here's my CV. That is absolutely the worst thing to do. It feels counterintuitive, but it absolutely is. You have to look at it and feel, how would you feel that same way? You've got to gently persuade, build a relationship. That's the whole ethos of that engagement strategy. So it's really important to then add all of these elements together. And so it sounds like there's an awful lot there. And in truth, there is a lot that you've got to do. Finding a job in 2026 is not necessarily an easy task. And it's not going to get any easier. It's that the market is not going to suddenly change. The economy isn't going to suddenly boom tomorrow. We're just not in that time. It's still going to continue to grow out there. Absolutely, there's going to be some ups and downs, but absolutely there's pressure on it. And there's pressure on it because of AI, because of the adoption on it, where they are looking at getting more efficiencies in companies, which means, do they need to take on people who just process stuff, who just do things that are easily replicated? And that's why, as Foxy said, you've got to get on board with AI. You've got to be cognizant of what it is and what its capabilities are. And the more that you can do that and demonstrate that, the more employable you become. So look, there's a lot there that we've got to do. And all of these elements, once you've got that, means that you're start getting visibility. But above all else, as we spoke about last week, what it does is it starts getting you in front of everything for the hidden job market. So that area where the majority of jobs never see the light of day, they don't get posted. These are the jobs where they're either looking confidentially, they've got it in budget, but it's not going to happen for a few months. But it's the ones that they're thinking about that they might do. It might be that someone's left and resigned and they've not yet actually posted it yet. It's one where they're only looking internally at the moment, but they would consider things outside, but they're just not going to post it yet. Those are the jobs that, by doing all of this activity on LinkedIn, those are the ones that you suddenly get access to. And if your only strategy is applying for jobs only, you will never see those jobs at all. You're actually doing yourself out of at least half the market, which just seems crazy to me. So I don't know why so many candidates don't want to access that hidden job market. You know, that alone should encourage you to really go all in on LinkedIn, because that's the way that you make such a big difference in getting onto a successful job search and what you need to do from that side of things. So look, I think we've gone through quite a lot of elements on that. I'm quite happy to go through now any particular questions that anyone's got, or any advice that they need in terms of what to do on their LinkedIn. I know that when it comes to LinkedIn profiles, into content creation and different areas like that, it can feel so daunting to do, of where to start and what to do. And you need to worry, you know, often people worry about the LinkedIn algorithm. As Nena, I can see you've put there, don't get me started on the LinkedIn algorithm. It's a mystery. And that's the point. You know, the algorithm is a mystery. We can all sort of work out what it is and what it's sort of doing. But day to day, I've got no clue. I don't know what it's doing. And I often see it when I look at my stats that I look at in terms of what views I get. So in both impressions, in engagement, in profile views, I will look at that and analyze it. And I try and work out, why is it that I'm suddenly down on this day? Why am I suddenly up on this day? It's really hard sometimes to work that out. Now, sometimes I think, well, actually, people just don't like that post. They don't like that picture. They don't like the content of it. They've not been engaged by the hooks, not strong enough. You know, I need to change and adapt that. So I do look at it and think it's good feedback for me to understand if it's not worked well. But what I do make sure that I do is I do not worry about what the LinkedIn algorithm is, because unless you're actually working in that team in LinkedIn, you don't know. And all of those people out there that say they know what the LinkedIn algorithm is doing day to day, they don't, because LinkedIn will absolutely guard that. They will not disclose what it is. I have spoken to several people in LinkedIn, been to their HQs over here in Europe, and they will not tell you what it is. It is a closely guarded secret. So any of those people that tell you this is what it does and this is what the algorithm does, you've got to change it for this. No, there's a generality of what it will do, which is interest related, but the day-to-day what it is, I don't know. So I'm not going to worry about it. What I'm going to look at is get the feedback to see, are my impressions up or down for a particular post, and work on that. That's good critical feedback for me. If it's up, clearly people sort of like that, then okay, fine, I'm going to start doing a little bit more on that subject. On other areas, if it's down, I think, well, clearly people, it's not resonating with people. They're not particularly interested in it, which I don't take personally. It's just that's what the market is. They're not interested in it. That's fine. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the things that people want to hear and want to understand. So use it as a really good way of getting feedback. So by all means, look at all your impressions and your engagement, but bear in mind this one thing: use it as feedback. Don't use it as worrying about the fact that I've had 10 views for something, or I've had 10 million views for something. It's irrelevant. You know, just look at it to see, well, clearly if I've got the most, it's going to be something that's interesting. I can give you more information on that. So look, we're coming near towards the end of it. We've got an interesting time coming up. So we've got the next 2 weeks. We've got Easter coming up next week, where hopefully I say hopefully I will do, because as some of you may know, I've been on my my Lent fast, which is I've given up chocolate and sweets. Amazingly, I've still on it, so I haven't broken it. I've still managed to do it. I've made I've beside myself that I've managed to do that, but I'm really looking forward to a week on Sunday where there is a large Easter egg that has got my name on it, and I'm going to devour that completely. So I'm going to make sure I look forward to that. But what it does mean is we are going to have a break next Friday, so we won't be going live on Good Friday. So we will not have the Get Hard live, and because we're going to have a holiday, and I value peace at home with my wife and family, I'm taking a second one off. So it's going to be 2 weeks that we're not going to have the Get Hired live. But what's really good is that we're going to be coming back the following week. So in 3 weeks' time, we shall be coming back for the follow-up. It's going to be a new launch of a number of different things. We'll still have this background. Hopefully you like the this one here, the on-air sign that we managed to put up here as well. So that's always a little bit interesting. But we're going to come with a few different aspects. We've got a number of guests that we've been talking to and have agreed to come on the show for the next couple of months. So we've got some interesting ones that are going to come here. Some from the field of recruiting, some from the field of branding and content as well. So we're going to add some more dimensions to everything. By all means, let us know what else there is that you'd like to hear from as well. What we're also going to be doing is running some events out of the Get Hired community. It'll just be for the Get Hired community itself. So in 3 weeks' time, we're going to be launching a number of Q&A sessions and some dedicated times and lives specifically about very niche topics. So here we tend to talk about the larger picture. What we're going to do in the Get Hired community is going to have special topics that we're going to do. So we'll do just a piece on content creation, how to create a post. So we will go down to that, how to do your about section. So we're going to go into really much more micro detail that we'll do there. So if you've not joined in the Get Hired group, please make sure you do as well. Foxy, Nigel, and then I've just launched my merch store, by the way. So your free mugs are on their way to me. We'll send them on to you next week. Amazing. I love this. I absolutely love it. I love a free merch store. And in Time Honored Tradition, you will get in exchange a Get Hired mug as well. So we're going to do that. Shameless plug. There it is. If you've not gone on there already, go onto Foxy's Lab shop. I think that's going to be good for everyone who hasn't done that. I think it will do. Thank you, Jonathan. I will enjoy the break and time with family. I think it's important to do that, no matter whether you're looking for a job or not, even if you're job searching. And as I say, I know because I've gone through that same process myself in the past, and sometimes it can be super tough to do in terms of going through that pain of trying to find a job, of often when you're just, especially if you're just applying, if you're using an application only strategy and hearing nothing back, it can be absolutely stressful as hell and heartbreaking. Oh, are you going to get Amelia on your show? Who knows? Who knows, Nena? There might be some very special guests coming up soon. So I hold your breath, but not for too long. But there might be. We're going to get a number of really interesting guests coming along from all different fields. Some are going to be super interesting. And I've also thought will be really good. I've noticed with a lot of these things that of having people who all just agree with the same way, I think it's going to be quite good to see if I can find people from slightly more traditional recruiting routes, for different types of messaging, having a little bit more of a debate. Let's really try and understand the different levels that things happen, but also about people like Amelia who have really exploded their LinkedIn profile, exploded their presence online, and how fast they've managed to do that, because I think that will really help a lot of people, and not just in terms of job search, but also developing your career as well. So that's going to be really good. Absolutely, Foxy. I think that James Crombie should be online. I think he should be a guest. To be honest with you, James really should be running the Get Hired community for the next 2 weeks. But I think he's taking a break as well. So he's having a well-deserved break. Look, everybody, thank you so much yet again. Always a joy. Really thoroughly enjoy it. Enjoy your Easter break that comes up. I hope that you have a fantastic time. Eat as much chocolate Easter eggs as you can. You can have my share as well, except for on Sunday, when I'm going to be consuming as much of it as I can possibly do, and then spend another 40 days giving it up again as I have my chocolate hangover. Great to see you all. Enjoy the week, and I'll see you in 3 weeks' time. Cheers.